Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming. My name is Alex Nantes, and today I'm presenting my content strategy concept for Apple, which is an exclusive podcast series called Apple Life Unlocked. This series is designed to showcase how Apple products power creativity, productivity, and performance across everyday life. Apple is one of the most recognized and innovative brands in the world, with over 2.2 billion active devices used globally. However, while Apple does excel in product marketing, there is an opportunity to deepen its storytelling by highlighting real users and how they integrate Apple technology into their everyday lives. Like I mentioned before, today I'm going to be introducing Apple Life Unlocked, an exclusive podcast series that highlights real stories behind Apple's ecosystem and how it impacts everyday users, featuring real creators, students, entrepreneurs, behind the scene, authentic content, and most important, to be relatable while reinforcing Apple's brand identity of creativity and innovation. Okay, so here's Apple's strategy and their target market. There's actually 2.2 billion active Apple device users globally. This target audience is going to include students, creators, professionals, entrepreneurs, athletes, musicians, and designers. And the ages are between 18 to 45. Now, these are individuals who are actively using technology to enhance their lives and are highly engaged with digital and visual content. As shown in my discovery infographic to the right, this audience is not only diverse, but also highly connected through Apple's ecosystem through strong engagement in visual and interactive content across platforms like Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. And this insight really reinforces why a video podcast combined with short form social media content and audio is going to be the most effective strategy to reach and connect with this certain targeted demographics. The core deliverable is an exclusive Apple podcast series that's going to include both audio and video streaming. Each episode features real users sharing their experiences along with interviews, demonstrations, and behind the scenes storytelling that highlights Apple's global ecosystem. So the content delivery is going to be a bunch of podcast series, and we're going to have individual students, creators, influencers, athletes, musicians, performers, artists, designers. They're all going to share their stories, and they're going to highlight examples on how they effectively use Apple products and to create and innovate with their projects. Well, why podcast? Because it's innovative storytelling. I chose podcasting because it is one of the fastest growing content formats with over 464 million global listeners. Podcasts build trust, it creates authentic connections, and allows for long form storytelling, which can be repurposed across multiple platforms across social media. Okay, so here's the creative concept. It's going to be called Apple Life Unlocked. It's going to focus on real people, real stories, and real impact. The visual style will reflect Apple's clean, cinematic aesthetic while highlighting creativity, productivity, and performance. Here's a great example and a sample podcast teaser featuring Olympic gold medalist and triathlon John Frodeno. He's going to showcase how he used the Apple Watch to track performance, optimize his recovery, and stay on top of his game. This teaser reel is going to connect and be used all across social media platforms to attract listeners and viewers to watch full episodes on Apple's exclusive podcast channel. Take a moment to take a look at one of the podcast episodes. In this episode, learn how Jan Frodeno, a retired triathlete and Olympic gold medalist, trained with the Apple Watch to track performance, optimize recovery, and stay on top of his game. So, in order to promote this podcast series, I believe Instagram will be the primary platform, using short form reels to attract viewers and listeners worldwide, and using supporting platforms like TikTok, YouTube Shorts to expand the reach and drive traffic to view the full podcast episodes. So the weekly calendar that I'm presenting in front of you is going to ensure consistent engagement by targeting different audiences each day, from athletes and creators to students and musicians, while reinforcing Apple's brand message and the call to action to view and listen to the full episode on Apple's podcast channel. So Mondays we'll have celebrities, Tuesdays we'll have athletes, Wednesdays we'll have creators, Thursdays we'll have students, and Friday musicians. And on the weekends we're going to have behind the scenes on how Apple's products are being used, and again a call to action to view the full episode on Apple's exclusive podcast channel. Reaching Apple's goals. This is a strategy that's going to support Apple's business goals, because not only is it going to create brand awareness, but it's going to increase engagement. It's going to create visual and interactive content to keep the audience hooked and engaged. It's also going to create a bandwidth expansion, which means it's going to deliver high quality video podcast to a larger global audience without performance issues or limitations. And again, brand awareness. It's going to share authentic, real world stories showcasing how its products enhance everyday life. This is so important to build that ecosystem that Apple is currently missing through its exclusive podcast channel. Why this works? Simple. This marketing strategy is going to be aligned perfectly with Apple's product and its brand identity. It leverages its massive ecosystem, uses authentic storytelling, and connects with audiences in a meaningful and scalable way through various social media platforms. And people can also share their favorite episodes, creating a funnel towards Apple's podcast series and raising awareness. And one of the key things I like to point out is, how are we going to evaluate the success of this podcast series? Well, what we're going to do is going to evaluate and track its key performance indicators, such as podcast downloads, video views, audience retention rates, social media engagement, and overall growth in Apple's podcast platform usage. And additionally, measuring how content is actually shared and how audiences interact with teaser clips. It's going to provide insight into engagement and how we've reached audiences globally. Our conclusion is that this Apple podcast series has strong potential to succeed because it combines storytelling, technology, and real world impact. This message is simple. Apple's podcast series are human centered storytelling that inspires and connects with everyone. So the question becomes, what stories are we waiting to be told within Apple's new podcast series? Thank you once again for your time. My name is Alex Nantes.